Okay, so Jess Marshall on the Ryan Harper podcast.
Yeah.
Why'd you look at me like that?
Man, it's been a while. It's good to see you.
I know.
Yeah, life does crazy things. I haven't seen you in like a week.
I know. So contractor, roofer, insurance adjuster, claims person, rugby. Is that about sum up you in a nutshell?
I do some real estate investing.
Oh, yeah.
Here
I
and
forgot
there.
about that, yeah.
So I, love building, but being like a builder, like a custom builder or a track builder is some exhausting work. There's just a lot that goes into it. But flipping is something that I've always been interested in. So I've, done it a bunch. Mm-hmm. And we figured out a way where our people go into tons of houses, talk to tons of homeowners. And a lot of times those homeowners are sick of their house. Or they just need out of the house. They're like, hey, I got to fix the house. I can't afford it. I want out. Or something catastrophic has happened. Remember 2019, just north of here in Dallas, we had that huge tornado. People get fires all the time, believe it or not. And then they get floods too, like bad floods where it'll flood the hot water heater out of the attic in a 2-story and they're on a ski trip and it floods for 4 days and it completely destroys the inside of the house before anybody knows. Well, we go in and talk to those people sometimes, and then we're able to buy the property from them and help them process their claim, and that gets us into a flip situation where, we're able to, in real estate, you make money when you buy, not when you sell. So if we're able to get that value right at the beginning, we've gotten ourselves into quite a few really cool flip situations that way. So it's kind of a weird double vertical there where we have this core competency of client care and customer service contracting. We're helping people replacing their roofs, their siding, all that. Then maybe if they need out of the house and there's value there, we'll buy the house and we'll flip it as well.
Well, one thing it was interesting right before we started this podcast, we were talking about how a lot of, and I'm not going to name drop people, but a lot of like so-called like influencers in the space, contracting, building, real estate, they're all coming to you for like advice on insurance claims and claims adjusting. And I paused that conversation because a lot of the process of working with me and my company for the past 6 months now has been about building out your YouTube, building out an Instagram, to build out an audience to have that residual marketing effect. I don't know if that's a term or if I could just coin it right now, but you put some out there and then the residual effects of that continue on. And that's essentially what Instagram and more importantly, YouTube is. But if you don't know who your audience is, you're just kind of shotgunning it out and trying to narrow it in. And in the last 6 months, it's like, all right, who is our audience? Is our audience for you specifically people who are going to sell you their houses that maybe need their roofs done? But it sounds like the audience that's naturally coming out of this process are other contractors who need advice on the claims adjusting.
I think it is. I think it's really interesting because, we all only have our own specific spheres of influence. And you could have 5,000 friends on Facebook, but only a couple hundred of those give a damn what you're posting.
100?
Well, I mean,
shit. I think you have better friends than I am.
No, you're the online celebrity, not me.
Okay. Yeah.
Figuring out who. So the first side of this entire thing is figuring out, okay, I got all this value I can bring to the table, but who wants the value? So I have this supply of knowledge, 25 years of trial error. I had no mentors. I learned nothing of this entire business, whether it's restoration or real estate investing, from anyone. I just started doing it. Is that the smartest way? Absolutely not. But I'm a learn the lesson the hard way guy. That's just how I'm built.
Same.
And I don't want to sit back and take courses from you and, get paralyzed by analysis. I just want to go.
It's funny because I had this conversation earlier this week with one of my closest friends who I've known for 20 years. And we did this almost thought experiment where he took notes, and what I did was I just kind of spelled out what done since I graduated high school. Like, what's your life story since high school? And I very quickly just 20-minute life story last 8 years of my life. The last 22 years of my life. And out of that, he was able to do, so he's like, well, you're an extreme doer. Like, you'll jump into the deep end without knowing how to swim. And sometimes it's successful, but more times it bites in the ass because you don't stop to analyze, to process, to plan. But on the flip side, like my friend, he's an extreme analysis planner, but not a doer. So, like, for me, I'm an extreme doer, and therefore I can do it, but it's usually not at my own benefit,
What I've found, and this I believe is true for more people than just me, because I've asked it on my podcast many times, the most valuable lessons you've learned, what have those lessons been? Those lessons have come through failure, through loss. They have not come through success. Now, when we step up to the plate, whether it's you in the production company or me in the contracting, and now I'm doing this content thing with you, do we want to hit a grand slam home run every time? Yes.
Yeah.
Is striking out fun? Is putting a post on social and getting 2 views and 2 likes, is that a blast? No, it's fucking not.
Right.
But if you don't try, you'll never know if you could have succeeded.
I think, but there's extreme difference though between like people like us that are doing content for business purposes versus a 16-year-old who their self-worth is from their view count, which it breaks my heart a little bit knowing that there's a generation of, or I don't know, multiple generations of kids that literally, like, if they post something, oh my God, it only got 87 likes. I hate my life right now. I'm so ugly. Like, that's horrible.
You're saying 16-year-olds, man. There's grown adults who, if people disagree with them on a Facebook post, they absolutely lose their shit. Do I mean lose your shit in I'm going to leave you a voicemail and tell you I'm mad at you? No, I'm talking about a string of text messages like 2 nights before Christmas.
Completely hypothetical, I believe.
And I think that what's really weird is that we all don't understand that social media is fool's gold.
Yeah.
When I first started this with you, I told you I've never had any designs on being famous or any of that. Never. I've tried my hand at several things in the construction space. I've always been a restoration contractor since I started. You told me the second you close up shop, fold your tent, and close your YouTube channel and your social media, you will be forgotten in 4 or 5 days. And you are 100% right. And the sad truth is, you put a post up, it's a dynamic post, everyone loves it. No one remembers that tomorrow. No one. And I think it's crazy that so many people deduce their self-worth from followers, subscribers, etc. Because life's a lot deeper than that. Now, when you're using social for business, you're trying to be strategic, you're trying to be smart, you're trying to be clever, creative, all of those things. I think for me, more of the, God, I don't know if this is working, is that there's been some feedback, but not like, oh, damn, man, we're starting to actually get some of that. Of, whoa, I really learned a ton from that, or people reaching out to me out of the blue asking me for flipping advice. But it's the things when you like, man, I think this is a really good post, or I think this is a really good quote, and it doesn't do shit, that you're just like, man, this is crazy. And we don't realize how much tech has to do with that. The algorithms, the focuses. I mean, all Instagram cares about right now are reels.
Mm-hmm. This sounds like Amanda talking.
Yeah, you've got to play the cards the way they're dealt.
Yeah.
So,
well, you said it right though about like you do the content and you hope people watch and then eventually they will. But because I saw in the DMs the other day, a guy that we both used to play rugby with reached out and says, "Hey, I like your podcast." Well,
can I pay you to come on and do a podcast session?
But I was just saying this, like, you've done like 24 of them, and it's just now that somebody that you knew for years and years and years, shed blood with on the rugby pitch, is saying, "Hey, I like what you're doing." And regardless of, hey, can I pay to be on your thing? But just like, hey, I like what you're doing. Like that to me is proof of everything that we're doing is working. The fact that circling back to the original comment about how these other industry leaders are starting to come to you for education on the claims adjusting. Would they have done that if you didn't do podcasts or you didn't do the YouTube? Who knows?
No, they wouldn't have been able to find me.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing a lot of organic. I did Facebook really hard for 2 years. I got some stuff off of it, but I didn't find that the time I invested was worth the return.
Mm-hmm.
When we started back up in July, I started regularly posting on Facebook. You know, Facebook's dying, and Facebook is where content goes to die per the expert.
I didn't say Facebook is dying. I said Facebook is where content goes to die.
Facebook's dying as well. A lot of people are stepping away from it. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not going to get political, any of that. What I do know is when you're visible, we are in a society where if you are not always in front of people,
yes,
they do not come seek you out.
Yes.
Okay. Unless you have a widget that can't be replaced, unless you are Apple or Nike, but they're everywhere. So it's not people even with highly demanded products are not hiding. Well, they're everywhere.
I forgot what the stat was, but this is from like 20, 30 years ago. Like Coca-Cola or the automobile industry, they spend billions of dollars a year on advertising, even though their advertising is not to get a new customer, it's just to maintain the customers they have.
Retention.
Yeah.
We've gotten more business by being more visible on all platforms. Not exponential. Not nothing to write home about yet.
Right.
What's interesting is I've met some people, especially through the podcast, that I never would have met and had an interchange with them that I never would have had. You and I have had long conversations where we haven't looked at our phone. We've talked things through. That doesn't happen in everyday life. When you bring someone into a studio, they see what you're investing in the venture. They sit down, they turn their phone over and off, and it's you and them for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
You get to have an intimate situation.
It's a different deal than, hey, can we grab a coffee or let's meet at a happy hour. Everyone's checking their phone, and again, it's back to that short-term memory. I don't remember. Well, when you have a interchange like that, it leaves an indelible impression on someone.
Right.
And I think it's really cool. I really enjoy it. Because it's a different sensation than we get in everyday life.
Yeah. We good?
It's
sorry. Oh, I thought there was.
There's just some
we're talking.
There's some back chat.
Yeah. Shit. Talking about that. Shit. What was I talking about?
We're just talking about you have a long podcast with somebody, a long discussion.
Yeah. And
it's awesome.
Well, the thing is, like, if you do go to coffee with somebody, you know, there's what's the catch, what's the sales pitch, how are we doing business? But like when you're having a conversation on a podcast, it could be that intimate, and just talk about anything, talk about nothing, get to know somebody versus, like coffee or in a sales situation. It's like we're only talking about this cup and how green it is and how it's not Yeti and da-da-da-da versus in a podcast, maybe we're talking about the table, maybe we're talking about the bottle of water, maybe we're talking about your hair, maybe we're talking about the weather, you know? So it goes on and on and on.
You can go on any rabbit trail you want, go off on tangents. It's not, when you are meeting someone, if it's a sales call or a business meeting, like I have a lot of our people who work at Autograph do face-to-face meetings with people, whether that's on FaceTime or Zoom, or they meet them in person. It's me and you. Let's talk. How can I help you build your business? How can you help me? And we get that giver's gain thing going on. We bond. We learn about, what each other can do to help each other. Mm-hmm. When you're doing that, even if there's synergy, there's really only one vertical there. You're talking about how can I help you? How can you help me? It's not where'd you come from? How'd you grow up? What are the things in your life that changed your perspective on life? And when you have a long conversation with someone that's uninhibited and undistracted, it's just a different deal.
Do you think that's why some of these guys are coming back to you? Because like you've done a couple podcasts on their podcast, your podcast, and you're able to have these long conversations. So maybe they do feel like they can trust you more. They do feel like, oh, he is the expert on these conversations and or on these topics. And then it's easier for them to reach out because they have had that moment of vulnerability with you, when in vice versa.
It's either that or it's the fact that I invited them and said, hey, your friend said that you'd be a super interesting guy to talk to. I don't know you, I've never met you, but I'd love to have you on my podcast because it sounds like you live your life in a fearless manner. That's a big thing to me. You live a DIY life. You look for adversity.
The DIY guy on the fly.
Shift on the fly DIY guy. Yeah.
So
you came up with that.
That's so stupid.
Wait, no, I did.
It was a group effort.
They see, you're putting something into it. It's not like we're just jumping on a Zoom on our, laptops. It's also, I think, that they kind of get a feel for who you are as a person. Like if I cold called somebody and was like, hey, what's going on? I'm the expert in this field. I don't know. They'd be like, yeah, dude, sorry, man. I'm in the middle of something. I'll get back to you never. When you have them on and you talk to them and I feel like they get a feel for who you are as a person, that you're not a douchebag, that you're not full of shit. Those are things, man.
Well, I think everybody's a douchebag and I think everybody's full of shit. So
you're probably right. I'm, not going to lie with you there.
I mean, look at that hair.
I don't know, man. I just got it cut. I was going a little high and tight. A guy talking about hair. He's been walking around like Guy Fieri for a couple months. Can I get an amen from the audience? I mean, come on. I'm getting shit over here for hair.
Let's talk about injuries. I'm just kidding.
Get the God, I swear to Christ, I'm walking off the set.
No, so you were talking about how like you hadn't been on social media and you haven't been on this. And I know we started having conversations about a year ago in January.
Yes.
What was it that made you go, okay, I need to
start this? And even before that, when I was going to come on do some Propelio stuff with you.
Yeah.
Like a year and a half, a year and 3/4 ago, when we were kind of trying to line up some studio time.
So what was that journey of going, okay, I'm not really doing media stuff. Okay, I probably need to do it. Okay, this is really interesting, and now let's dump some money and let's start doing this.
Well, you opened my eyes to YouTube. You asked me, what do you use YouTube for? And I said, anytime anybody calls me with a question, I just say YouTube it. That's what I do. I got a leaking sink, this door. Okay, what's the serial number, the brand, the make? YouTube it. Is there a how-to video on there? I watch it, I fix it. I want to do, I was explaining to Sekou about a month ago, trying to figure out how to wake up in the morning without anxiety. So I use a noisemaker to put myself to sleep. I have for years. If there's sirens or anything, you don't hear that. Take it to hotels, it's perfect. It's all, I also get that Pavlovian response of I turn that thing on, it's time for bed, I'm out. But then you have an alarm, even if it's your favorite song, it still startles you awake. So what could I do? So doing all this research, and I found this alarm. It's a noisemaker that slowly in the morning turns the noise off, which if you use a noisemaker and it turns itself off, that will gently wake you up. You can't sleep past because your mind... So the other thing it does is it very gradually brightens up. It goes from a red light, which is very calming, up to it's not super bright. It's not like these, and it wakes you up. So I ordered a bunch off Amazon, and I'm trying them all out. And a couple of the problems with a few of them are that the fail-safe on them is if you don't wake up and turn it off in 10 minutes, then a blaring alarm goes off, and then you've just defeated the purpose of trying to wake up naturally and in a chill way. Well, I'm like, how do I fix this one? It was a good deal. I went on YouTube. There were like 4 or 5 YouTube how-tos on there of how to fix the alarm problem on this product, and one of them had 500,000 views. So when you explained YouTube, what do you use YouTube for? Just alarm bells went off in my mind. It opened my eyes to, well, I know how to build a lot of stuff, and I know a lot of people want to know how to build a lot of stuff, or so many people want to invest in real estate, but they don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. And the starting point for a lot of them is they got to go find someone to teach them. And the first thing they see is yellow Lambos. And they're like, I don't know if I'm not feeling this. So when you and I are talking about that, I'm like, man, I have people reach out to me all the time who are like, hey, I flip. Can I meet you for coffee? I really want to flip a house. I don't know how. I don't know where to start. What can we do? Well, so we started doing this because I know a lot of stuff, because I've tried a lot of stuff, and I've won and I've lost. I've learned a lot from the losses, and I can teach people, hey, man, avoid this mistake at every cost, and that's going to save them thousands and thousands of dollars just from listening to me do it. So when you explained, you just asked me that simple question, I was like, yes, this makes total sense. Let's jump on. And I mean, we've been shotgunning content into the YouTube channel, from podcast clips, deep thoughts, entrepreneurism, roofing, restoration, fire claims, flipping real estate, all of it. And figuring out who it is that's watching and getting value out of it is what we're trying to figure out.
Right.
The fact that people are reaching out like, hey, man, have you got an hour that we could talk about how I could process this claim? And then after we talked, same guy, super accomplished guy, is telling me the next day, I've learned more in 24 hours than I've ever learned before.
So now we just got to figure out how to monetize that.
Well, that's what we absolutely.
Like, can I get a shout out on your IG or
yes.
your YouTube or whatever?
Absolutely.
Because that's one thing that I have not done the last whatever years is I am a strong relationship builder. Like I feel like I am connected to a lot of people, but I haven't done a good job of monetizing those relationships and or those introductions. Like, oh, Jess, you should meet this guy over here that can dramatically change your life. And then he does. And then it's like, hey, remember me? And nothing ever happens. And that's just because, like, oh, you're a go-giver, whatever terminology you want to use, but also because I'm an idiot and naive. Because I believe in a world of reciprocity.
Or you were setting the stage for what you're about to step into.
Yeah, because I'm all about the long term. I don't ever want to be the guy that's sleazy, that's always monetizing every relationship ever. Like, if I'm in a room with somebody who, perfect example, I was in Randy Zuckerberg's mastermind in all of 2019. The first event, she is she's sister to Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook. She created Facebook Live. She was like their main marketer at the very beginning of the company. So she's established. She's legit. And at those first 2 or 3 events, because I was going to New York once a month to go to these events, like everybody there we're talking like small 15, 20 intimate person events. They would all get pictures with her. And I'm like, I would go out of my way not to get a picture with her because I didn't want to be like, I want to have a relationship with this person. I don't want to use this person for clout. Later it was like, somebody's like, you're an idiot. Just get a picture. Nobody cares. I'm like, okay. But again, that's just me being paranoid about that.
I track with you 100%. I don't like, I'm here with you. I'm meeting. We got to take a selfie. We got to document this. Look at my steak.
Well, that's why you got to hire people to do it for you.
Yeah. Check out my sweet new whip, whatever it is.
Whip.
Yeah. Your ride, bro.
Is that what they call?
I don't know. I think they did 10 years ago. I don't think they still call them whips. I really don't know. Anyways, the whole promote yourself thing is a weird deal. I feel like it's just a hump you have to get over. It's a lot like public speaking, which actually I grew up doing. So from the time I can remember, I was in school and in church required to memorize and then give speeches, poems, great speeches, things like that from stages in front of 500 people when I'm like 8 years old.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem. I have actually no fear of getting on a stage in front of 50,000 people. None. But for some reason, social media, it's this weird voice in the back of your head. Maybe it's self-doubt. I don't know, man. Does anyone really want to hear what I have to say?
So another callback to the Zuckerberg Institute, even Randy Zuckerberg, with all her accomplishments, she was even saying that she has imposter syndrome because everybody has it. Everybody has it. I mean, I had a fascinating call yesterday about one of the largest masterminds in the country possibly wanting to work with me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like,
awesome,
for what?
Right.
You know, for marketing and for the sponsorships and events. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yes.
I won't air this until after that meeting, but no, but it's just, you don't know what you know.
You don't know what you know.
Type of, I don't know, that didn't come out right.
Here's when you know what you know. When someone calls you, I had a friend, he's trying to build a structure in his backyard. He's a contractor. He's got problems with the city he lives in. They give him all kinds of grief. Really good guy. You've met him. And he's like, man, I don't know what to do here. They're giving me all these problems. Well, in 20 minutes, I've got him a rock-solid plan to move forward, and we're going to game the system, and we're going to put him in the position he needs. How do I know any of that? Because I've done it all.
Yeah, done it.
I've built all kinds of stuff, on and off permits, nothing illegal, but it's a very fine line that you walk. So I got a guy, he's a buddy, yeah, but he's also a contractor, so he can see through BS as quick as anybody, and we laid it out. Did I send him a bill at the end of that? No, I didn't. That's when you know that you know your stuff. Someone calls you, Ryan, so I want to put together an event. I really don't know where to start.
Right.
I don't really even know where to start. How to get presenters? Do we have to pay the presenters? Do we have to pay for food to get people to come? How do we do this? Is it a cash bar? What are we doing? How are we doing? You'd be like, hold my beer 1 second. And you would be able to rattle off the scope and sequence of what they need to put on something like you put on in December, which was mind-blowing how successful that was.
Well, it's funny because we did that first event in October. Which you actually sponsored. Appreciate that. And, it was funny because I know Sekou, that was his first event with me. And going in, didn't really know what to expect. And then it was just kind of like, because here it's the most people you're ever going to have in here is 5 or 6 people. You're never going to have a lot of people, so you're not really. It's hard to tell what's going on behind the scenes, even when you're in behind the scenes, because all it is, okay, another sponsor signed up, okay, another email blast went out, and okay, here's a video, and so it's really hard to tell what the final product is going to be. And then we had that event. And then Seika's like,
yeah,
oh shit. I guess, because here I am telling him every single day, everyone you meet, especially in real estate, is full of shit, including me. So in one ear, he's got, I'm full of shit, I'm full of shit, I'm full of shit. But on the other ear, it's like, oh, by the way, this is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And so it's like, where's that line of, okay. But then when you have 800 people during a pandemic at the Virgin Hotel, 3 masks total.
Yeah. Thank you to a certain someone for outing everyone. But either way, I think that it's this balancing act because people can see your authenticity when you're like honest, like, hey man, I drive a pickup, man. I'm not showing up in a Maserati, and I'm not going to solve all your. Yeah, I'm not going to.
Shit, I can't fit in a Maserati.
Yeah, neither could I, dude. Like, who the fuck are we kidding? Maybe one of those Maserati SUVs.
Do they make those?
I think Dirk drives something like that. Dirk Nowitzki, where the seat is set way back.
Okay.
Yeah, they make it's like the Porsche Cayenne.
I'm not a car guy.
I am not a car guy at all.
I just want AC when it's hot. Heat when it's cold. I don't want to have to go to the gas station all the time, and I want to be comfortable getting in and out of the vehicle.
I feel you there. I'm a truck guy. I can never see myself even being able to get in some of these crazy color cars.
You're talking about anxiety getting out of bed. I think of my knees getting in and out of a car like that.
I think about trying to get out and slipping and falling. No, so I think people can see your authenticity when you're like real with them. You're like, hey, I'm just a regular dude. Yeah. Like for instance, a great example is Matt Reisinger in Austin. That guy is the genuine article. And his videos and his content are spot on, and everyone watches because they can tell he knows what the F he's talking about. Mm-hmm. This is not Chip and JoJo on Bravo or whatever, flipping a house in 20 minutes and blah, 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 and I did it for $15.
A little jealousy there.
Total hater here, bro. Total. This is a real dude showing
you lost 90% of the audience.
Not at all.
Everyone loves Chip
Not
and
at
JoJo.
all. Let's go to Magnolia together. Let's get a croissant. Let's make a day of it. But,
That's the content, Amanda. Taking Jess to Magnolia and doing in Waco.
Let's go to Waco
and doing just TikTok videos all day long.
Should we go to Waco and buy a Magnolia mug?
A $50 candle.
Yeah, some candles. I don't know, like a tapestry that you lay down the middle of your, one of the crochet deals you put down the middle of your dining room table. You put your arrangements on. That was a little detailed. Yeah. Well,
she's like, screw Magnolia, let's go to the Bahamas.
I think the authenticity thing is a big thing for building an audience that gives a dang. There's a lot of guys who have gained a massive audience in the last 6 months because they took a stand politically. Yeah. Now, they didn't get crazy with it, right? But they took enough of a stand that a lot of people, because our country really went in two directions there for a long time. It still is. They took a mild stand, and they were still doing business, so they're not going to say anything too inflammatory, but they really ramped up their followership by doing that.
I can get behind mild stands, and I can get behind people supporting a cause. And I don't care, left, right, middle, it doesn't matter. Whatever you believe is what you believe. What I don't like is when people are fanatical. Like the far right, the far left, the far middle, anything far, I'm like, because like if you even look at like, I don't really get into this subject much ever anymore just because it's been like 10 years since I lived over there, but I used to live in the Middle East. And then when I first came back from the Middle East, people were like, oh, what's it like living in a Muslim culture? And I'm like, legit? Honestly, like, The Islamic faith is way, way, way more nice than the Christian faith. Like, it just is. Like, if you showed up somebody could hate you and you show up at their house saying, hey, I need help. By faith, they're going to let you in, clean you up, feed you, wash you, whatever, send you on your way. They may try to kill you later, but at that moment in time, they're there to help you. If we go to any, local house here of a strong Christian faith and we're like, hey, knock on the door, I'm in help. Like, what's the likelihood of those helping each other? So anyway, that's just one of those random things. But when you talk about the media and you talk about the lens of what people allow to poison their brain and letting other people make decisions for them, they're like, oh, Islam, Muslims, they're bad people. It's like, okay, really? Like, I understand that a lot of terrorism is from that faith, but when you're talking how many billions of people are in that faith, same thing with like white supremacists in this country. How many are actual assholes? Like, not all white people are assholes, but how many are? It's same thing with the BLM stuff. The BLM movement during all summer. It's like, well, how many people were actually breaking shit? So the people like to latch on and go, oh, this small fraction is the whole thing. And then they demonize everything. But that's where circling back to, I don't like any fanaticals.
The extremes are bad.
And people can't see nuance.
That is a generalization that is true. One of the few generalizations in life that is true across every vertical in space is that the extremes are bad. So in my life, if I only ever eat junk food, problem. If I only ever run miles and miles, problem. If I only work, problem. if I only rest problems. So what's the key here? Balance.
Balance and diversity, yeah.
Yes, the key to balance when it comes to viewpoints is that everyone gets a viewpoint and no one gets canceled for their viewpoint. It's your viewpoint, and I'm not pulling out a 40 and putting a hollow point in your temple for your viewpoint.
I thought you were talking about like a 40, like a drink.
Yes.
I was like, we're gonna have a 40 on your viewpoint.
We could have a 4. We could have some Cadillac Reserve. No, that's the weird deal about what's happened in our country is that so many people are so quick to just, you are now in devil category.
I don't know if I believe that, though.
Oh, I see. You sure see a lot of it. Now,
on TV.
On mainstream social media.
Because here's the question I would ask is, like, when's the last time you went to a person in person that you knew had a different opinion of you, and then had a conversation about that difference opinion, and did it turn into a fight? Did you say, F you, don't talk to me, unfriend me, I'm never going to talk to you ever again? Like on Facebook, you do have this sense of anonymity where it's like, well, yeah, I know you're 6 foot all and you're built like a brick house and you can kick my ass, but well, this is social. Fuck you. You're an asshole. It's like, I think in a lot of ways, people, and I'm not saying anybody should ever go violent, but people have forgotten that there is consequences to whatever you're saying. You know, like I was actually I was doing errands yesterday, and I was just in a parking lot, and some dude was walking. I was backing out, and he was walking. I didn't see him, but you know, when I saw him, I stopped, and then he just gave me the biggest stink eye ever, and I'm like, it was because he was wearing a mask that he did that. I'm thinking, and this is my theory, I think masks have given people like this confidence of, oh, a mask is like a shield, and I'm not talking about the wearing or not wearing. I'm just saying he felt like that was his armor. Like, I'm going to be, look at you in your truck. I'm like, motherfucker, this is still Texas. Like, yeah. I could be an asshole. I could have a gun.
I probably do.
I didn't. Anyway, but yeah.
People got beer muscles right now that are crazy. I don't even get it.
Mask muscles. That's what it is.
It's mask muscles. It's, I don't know if it's just Biden muscles. Then other people have empathy. Trump muscles. And I'm just trying to I've really vibe with people who are like, whoa, that's a hell of a point of view, and I've never seen it that way. No, wrong. I was brought up this way, and this is the only way, and if you don't like it, you're going straight to the pit of hell. That's dumb, in my opinion. That shows a lower IQ, lower intelligence than, man, that's crazy. I've never thought of it that way, and I'm going to think of it. You said, have you ever, and I know that you were just asking a general question there, but yes, I've met friends who have different political views. I've just been like, hey man, so I'm totally confused here. You know, I know you hate this person, so it's all got to change, but you run a small business.
Yeah.
Do you know what's going to happen if other policies are enacted? And all we just had was a dialogue. Now, these were friends. So, you know, we had history. I do believe that everything that's happened in the last year has separated some people who were lifelong friends and some families. And I agree. That blows my mind.
I think there's a lot of problems in society. But for me, because I'm so profound and know the answers to all life's questions, is people don't have empathy or love to strangers, but they also don't have the ability to change their mind. They're like, you know what? Dr. Pepper is my favorite drink of all time. And then when they drink a Sprite, well, Sprite is trash. Well, Sprite might be better than Dr. Pepper, or you might prefer Sprite over Dr. Pepper. But the reality is that who cares? You can change your mind. Like, you can be a white supremacist today and be like, you know what, that's actually bad, and then just be a better human. You could vote Republican today and go, you know what? I don't agree with this party. I'm going to go this direction, or vice versa. But I think at the end of the day, like my overall concept for life is nobody cares. And that's the truth of it. But,
well, at the end of it, we all just get tired, want to drink our beer and go to bed.
right. Speaking of bed, I do want to circle back to this. You were talking about anxiety.
Yeah.
Why do you think you have anxiety when you wake up?
Well, when you run small businesses, as you know, if you're not behind, you're not growing. So there's a very, very fine line between keeping your sanity. Yeah. So if I was always caught up, I would not be growing, and I am not on this earth to blend in. I'm here to stand out. So if I stand out through massive failures, then that's how I'm going to stand out. But I'm fucking standing out. Now, I don't know what it's going to take to do that, but I'm giving it my best shot every day. So what does that mean? It means at the end of every day, I'm exhausted. I've poured out all my effort. That's just how I'm built. I go to bed. I sleep about 3 hours at a time. I got all kinds of injuries to take care of, a couple broken noses. So
we'll spend the next 20 minutes talking about your injuries.
Fuck you, the horse you rode in on. I then wake up in the morning, and it's immediately just the laundry list of everything I need to do. Even before I look at my phone, I actually tried to wake up and leave my phone unlooked at for 1 hour. That's helped a ton.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times I've always just rolled over, made my first post, which I usually draft the night before, but I don't do that anymore. And that's helped a ton, because I think social media is weird. You can meet some really cool people through it, some really cool real people who you then meet in person, and they're cool people, and they have like the same, you vibe because you have the same, hey, I'm going to bring value to you, you brought value to me, reciprocity, and you're like, whoa, this is weird. This person and I, we think the same. But the other thing about social media is it's always got me comparing myself to other people. Yeah. Even when my mindset is, no, I'm on the right track, I know what I'm doing. Now, do I think I have all the answers? No, but then I look at social media and I'm like, God almighty, this guy is just crushing the game. What am I missing? He's hitting grand slams every time he steps up to the plate, and I'm hitting doubles or triples. What am I doing wrong? So the anxiety when I first wake up is just the laundry list of everything that needs to be done today and how far behind we are and everything we didn't get done yesterday. That's where that stems from.
And especially when you have like a team behind you that rely on you as much as you rely on your team relies on you to, vice versa.
You if you're really, really intent on building a team culture, your team needs to feel empowered. That is, I think, a lot of where I come from when I talk to somebody who has a different political or just economic or life outlook than me, is I'm like, that's a different way of looking at it. And I have seen, as I've started to build my team, the extreme power of teamwork, because it's extreme. And if you do empower the people in your team to, hey, I'm going to take on that responsibility, they will. And then you let them kind of grow into it. Are they going to make mistakes? Yeah. Do you jump down their throat and, chop them off at the knees for that? No, you go, hey, man, like, I see what you were trying to do there. Next time, let's do it this way so we can avoid this. Oh, yeah, and they learn from that. And it's very empowering, and the synergy and the vibe within a team just starts to vibrate with positive energy when everyone feels like their opinion matters. Now, are you and I the captains of the ship, and we at the end determine the course that we're going to set? Yes. But what if Amanda has an idea and that turns into something that just rockets every one of your clients? Just, whoa, this is out of control. I mean,
what do? You claim it as your own idea.
100% you do.
Honestly,
yeah,
that was my idea.
But the worst leaders to me are the dictators. Yeah. They don't listen to any ideas. They won't bring in any outside help. And I think that's all about ego. I think that's all about, when we win, I want that win to be hung around my neck only. And I think that's insane. I always compare it to the Cowboys. I don't know Jerry Jones. I never met him. Great guy. Awesome marketer. I mean, the dude's a genius, right? The Cowboys are, against Manchester United, the most valuable sporting franchise of all time. He's got crazy facilities. He doesn't drive anymore. He takes helicopters everywhere. I mean, we're talking off the charts. His hospitality company does the hospitality for all the other NFL teams in the NFL except for like 3. The dude's a genius. Will he get a GM who can get the players, who can win the Super Bowl? No. Why? I have no idea. But he hasn't. They haven't won a playoff game in who knows how long. And it's just one of those deals.
It's the ego.
That's
he wants it to be his
totally
team,
agree.
His thing. He's in charge. He's the guy. It's all about him. One thing that I think with me where I don't know if it's a failure, but it's something I'm having to work through is my history with certain leadership. I'm not going to say it's positive or negative, but just their management styles and knowing how much I didn't appreciate their management styles, that I've gone the completely other end of the pendulum and try to be super nice. And there's times where I'm like, I should be putting my foot down, but I don't, because I'm like, because you don't want to offend people. You don't want them to be mad, or you want them to like you. You don't want them to quit. You don't want that. And it's just like, so how do you balance that of being the captain of the ship, being respected, but also you're listening, but also, look, this is my company.
Don't have all the answers by any means.
I thought you were the answer guy.
No. I'm still learning. I think anybody in this world who says, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks, I live my own life, blah, 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 is lying. I think to a degree we all care, and we all want people to like us, unless you're a sociopath or a narcissist or a psychopath. I think when you are the leader, you have to be ready for the fact that people are working for you to make their living, and their family is their priority. It doesn't matter how good of friends you think they are, or how much you invest in them, or how much extra time you put in them. I've invested blood, sweat, tears, dollars into guys, and for them it was just transactional. Did that hurt when they were like, hey, I'm going to leave, I'm going to go do my own thing? Yeah. Was I a dick about it? No. I do agree that you learn. To me, I learned more on the mentoring side of things from the people who I saw what they were doing. I was like, I'm not doing that. Then that I glommed on to someone and was like, hey, can I be your protege? I've never really done that. Whether that's good or bad, I have no idea. I just have kind of done. I think we both have. Although we've both worked with and for people who were in maybe a senior position or had more experience than us, who then ended up coming around and burning us. And those are lessons we have to learn. Mm-hmm. I think that the entire thing about I'm the leader, are the best leaders loved or feared? I think the best leaders are loved and feared.
Yeah.
So if you step out of line, I am not coming through on the first time and chopping your knees out. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to figure it out. And
but
then
you're
we're
also
gonna
not shooting him in the head either.
We're going to go try to do better. But if we do the same, if we make the same mistake in 2 weeks, we're going to have a problem. If we have the same discussion, or you talk to me in that disrespectful tone again, we're going to have, okay, hey, listen, man, sounds like you're having a bad day. Why don't you and I go back to our corners, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Click. Best way to do it when someone kind of goes off on you on the phone. Done that many times. If that behavior continues to repeat itself with someone who's supposed to be working for you, who you are pretty much coaching in that space, in that vertical, in that industry, because you have more experience, they have none. They're learning from you. They're making fantastic money because of it. They're learning tons of things. Their future is very bright. Why? Because you're coaching them through it. So, that's a fine line. I would love for anybody who's ever worked for me to say Jess was fair, super smart, and was an inspirational guy. But do not mistake my kindness for weakness. You've seen me on the rugby field.
Speaking of inspirational, that's one thing. Oh shit, something broke. That's something that Sekou says all the time is like you should hire Jess to be your sales guy.
I know. I should. You really should. I'm your.
Did you
One
break
of the lights?
Are we gonna have a fire? Did you break it? You got so inspirational.
Well, I don't even know where was it. I think it was my elbow.
It was on the thingy. There you go.
It's like Thanksgiving, man. I'm always knocking something over with these elbows.
Yeah.
There we go.
Throwing elbows.
Yes. Yeah. It's a weird deal, you know. I am not one of these guys who, hey, come to the office. I'm never going to ask you about your family. I don't care. Oh, you're going through something at home. F you. Get with the program. Perform on the field. There are no business problems. There are no personal problems. There are just problems. So if you have a problem and it's at home, it's going to affect you in business. If you have a problem and it's in business, it's going to affect you at home. They're just a problem. So what do we have to do to get to the other side of it? Because nobody who I know who takes what they do for a living personally can just go, ooh, I had the worst day imaginable at work, and now I'm going to go home and, yes, I'm completely serene. Namaste. Let's make lasagna.
That's the TikTok. We need to see you namasteing.
Okay. Peace and love. That just doesn't happen. So if somebody's going through something at home,
yeah, I do
man, I got your back, dude. Like if your wife's being a wife, then let's work through it.
Oh,
let's work through it, brother.
Don't say that. You might want to edit that one out. No.
Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street, bro.
What's going on? You just said something I thought was I don't know if it's a you quote or just a quote, but it's pretty profound. Like there's no such thing as personal problems or work problems. They're just problems. You know, that's like an Instagram meme or something.
Well, if you really think so, to me, I cannot, and maybe it's just me, and maybe other people are able to just disassociate themselves from a bad day at work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always worked really hard to not tie my identity up in what I do, but yeah, I take it real personally, man. You know, I don't have any kids. The businesses that I built are my children. So, I think if you have a problem at home or you have a problem at business, they're going to cross affect one another, and I don't think there's any way around that. The crazy thing is that we live in a real world, a fallen world if you live by faith, where bad things happen, and bad things happen to good people. And
yeah, life's not fair.
And it doesn't even approach fair. Some of the best people I know go through the hardest things that are just unimaginable. So what do? You just have to soldier on. And if I can be anything for my people, it's a good word, an encouraging word. If they're bummed, I had a guy, he's a new dude. He's so on fire. He's such a hard worker. He's from Venezuela. He barely speaks English. He's the most fearless kid of all time. He gets on more roofs than any of my other guys because he doesn't give a fuck. He knocks on every door, chats everybody up. They love him. Cute little dude. Jumps up on, he's gonna crush it. He lost 2 deals where he got the roof approved by insurance. The customer decided to go with somebody else, which is just totally uncool. Very unprofessional. He was bummed, man. And I was like, dude, what you have to understand is you are on the right track, and you just have to keep hammering, you know? You don't chop that tree down with 1 chop. You don't chop that tree down with 100 chops. You have to chop until the thing falls, and that takes a lot. So if
I understand the analogy, I don't think any tree. I think if it takes more than 100 chops, that's a big.
Have you ever been to the Great Redwood Forest?
Well, if you're trying to chop one of those trees with an axe,
I mean, they have been chopped with axes in the past. That's how the Vikings made their ships, but.
Oh, God.
It's true. They didn't have chainsaws.
Well, they had saws. Like,
yeah. Well, it would take that many passes then, not chops. Either way,
I'm just being an idiot. I apologize.
The path to success is never straight.
Right.
Like a lot of people think like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hire this success coach. I'm going to get this investor. yellow Lambo. And I don't think it goes linearly like that. I think if you think it does, you are not seeing things clearly and you're misinformed, and maybe it's because, you just don't understand the way entrepreneurship works, which is that it has ebbs and flows.
Yeah, the ebbs and flow. Like your high you have now is going to be higher than the previous high, but your next low could quite possibly be lower than your last low. And then it's just that stair-stepping all the way up. And then eventually you're like, oh, cool. You figure it out. But then there's I was saying that earlier. It's about even with the studio. It's like you upgrade some things and you set something up. So the previous studio with the cameras you're using, I finally got the wires cleared up to where it was a little bit more manageable and people weren't tripping. But then I switched the cameras out, switched the lenses out, and now there's even more wires, even though it's could possibly be less chaotic. It's just right now we haven't, gone in. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that analogy of ultimately be better. It's just that process of getting there is the high. The high is going to be higher than the previous high could have been, as far as quality goes.
No doubt about it, man. Growth does not happen without pain. Birth does not happen without pain. Planting and harvesting does not happen without breaking ground. So there are violent things that happen to get you to where you need. If you're trying to get fit, you haven't been in the gym for a while, and you just go crush the gym, you're going to be so sore.
There's an economics term. I forgot. I think it's like creative destruction. I forgot what it's called though, but it's basically about how the new thing can't happen until the old thing is just demolished. Like entire industries almost.
When I was growing up, I lived in the state of Washington. We lived in this little college town for a while, and there's this guy who he did a lot of landscaping stuff. And long story short, there's this huge field that was turned into a vertical bank, and it was all wild grasses and shrubs. Well, this guy inadvertently started a fire, and it burned all that, and it took down like 3 or 4 houses. It's very traumatic. I was young, so I was you could see the fire from my house. What happened after the fire amazed me, because after the fire burned everything down, it was just black. The ground was black. What grew back was all perfect and lush and green, and the bank looked like it had never looked before. It was crazy. Same analogy in business and in life. If you're trying something and it's not working, or if you're trying to grow, there's going to be days when you're just like, man, I don't know if I can take this anymore. I am worn out. I am done with the universe testing me, just whatever it is. But if you will commit yourself deep down where the fire is, where you carry that fire and you go, I am not quitting. I don't care if hell or high water comes. I'm going through it. You're going to get where you want to go.
It's funny you brought that up, because I'm not a faith guy on any level, but yesterday I was just exhausted, because again, you have people that work for you. You want to make sure that you're taking care of them. You have your clients. You want to make sure you're taking care of them. And especially when you're a new business, it's the shell game of, okay, dollar in, where's it go? And how are we going to make payroll? How are we going to cover expenses? How are we going to grow? Because like you're saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. And, one thing I do here is not smart, but if you make $1, okay, cool. Well, let's spend $1.50. And it's like, well, where's that other 50 coming from? Well, I don't know. I'll figure it out, because again, I'm a doer. I'm not a planner. I'll just pull the trigger. Let's go. So, but yesterday I was just like exhausted. A friend of mine, we have an ongoing joke where it's like when she's exhausted, let's just go to Hawaii. And it's like, she was texting like, hey, you want to go? I'm like, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. Well, I was like, I'm actually going by the post office to check my, and if there quite literally could be some money in there. If there's money, we should just go to the airport, and anyway, but there was money there. I was like, oh, I'm obviously never going to just on a whim go to Hawaii, but it's like, man, I wish I could. But then literally 10, 15 minutes later, I get a text from a dude. hey, da da da, and then he's really excited about an opportunity, and then we jump on a call for like an hour, and he's just saying, here's this massive opportunity that could be good for you. Will that pay out? Will there be an effect from there? Who knows? It doesn't matter. But the fact that he had such high praise for me and another colleague of mine, and these are colleagues that are way up there in the real estate world, and they were both highly praise of me and recommending to me to this organization, that I was like, you know what, maybe today is a good day. So just that simple, that's why I was bringing the faith thing in, the spirituality, because it's like, maybe I needed that yesterday. Maybe I needed a pep talk, because Lord knows Sekou doesn't give me enough pats on the back.
I know that
right.
Karl Marx has a quote. He has many quotes. Obviously, a lot of people demonize Karl Marx. Obviously, communism, socialism do not work. But one of them is opiate of the masses.
Yeah.
So when the chips are down, when
I forgot what that's in reference to.
Well, it's that the collective takes care of the collective.
Yeah.
So if it's socialism and communism, is if you work harder, it all goes to the people. If you're lazy, you're the people. So our brightest stars provide for everyone.
Yeah.
And capitalism is the opposite of that. Capitalism has so many things that are wrong with it, but it has many, many things that are very, very right with it. Back to opiate of the masses. In business, when the chips are down, the worst place you can be as an entrepreneur is in your head. You've got to get out. Whether that's I'm gonna call up one of my clients, and we're gonna just chat. Like, hey man, like, so I saw this happened. That's pretty cool. What are you thinking? What are you excited about? And try to get a spark back, because a lot of entrepreneurship is based on just the bootstrapping, and the bootstrapping takes an enormous amount of passion. If you don't have passion for it, you just need to go work at Home Depot, man. Like if you can't wake up and conjure
they probably pay better.
They might and ignite the fire in yourself, then you should move on from entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is going to require something of you that nothing else does, and that is that when the chips are down and you don't fold the table, you stay in the game no matter what it takes. As long as you hang in there long enough and keep putting your best foot forward, good things are going to happen. And the great thing about having a team around you is that when you're down, you don't have to go to your team and go, man, I am pissed or I am frustrated. You can just say, hey, let's have a brainstorming session. And boom, the ideas start to flow, endorphins rise, the energy and the vibe starts rolling again, and everybody gets excited about the dream, the vision. And that's important. I try to go meet my guys in the field all the time, because me behind a desk just doing paperwork, helping them process their claims, doesn't do anything for them out in the field teaching them about stuff.
This is off topic, but do you use virtual assistants at all?
No, I have, especially for some IT stuff, but no.
But for like paperwork though, wouldn't that be a benefit to you?
So the hard work of writing these ESX estimates in insurance software is done by what you would term a virtual assistant. Yes.
Okay.
So that's something I used to do, so I know how to do. Well, they do it now, so I don't have to do that. But I do is just manage.
Okay.
So what needs to happen on this claim? Is this claim got to go to appraisal? Do we need a PA on this claim? Are we accepting this final offer from the carrier on this one? Oh, this client over here won't pay. Okay, it's lien time,
so
whatever.
And again, circling it way back, what is it about the thing that you do that's so difficult?
The thing about what I do that's so difficult is I deal with insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance companies are in the business of collecting premiums and limiting payouts. I'm on the payout side. So I'm on the side where they're limiting their losses. If I'm an insurance company and I look down, I know I have 5 million policyholders times 2,000 That's a lot of premium money coming in every year. I'm reinvesting that in mutual funds and all the other things insurance companies invest in to grow that money, because insurance companies are really just banks.
Right.
Well, then you have a claim. I don't want to pay out on that claim what's fair. I want to pay out on that claim what you will accept. So as a contractor, a 5-star contractor who knows what I'm doing, who doesn't chase storms, who never leaves Dallas-Fort Worth, who takes care of every client. Client needs us and the sun is up. They have a roof leak, whatever. We're there in an hour. Client communicates with us in the middle of the night. We're there by 9 a.m. the next day. So we're qualified. I send my estimate to the insurance company. It's a fair estimate. It's backed up. Everything's industry standard. They are most definitely never saying yes to that. They're looking everything they can take. Oh, don't offer that, don't offer that, don't offer that. Now, insurance companies have full right to make a living. Don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is when they don't put their policyholders first. So if a policyholder says, hey, Mr. Insurance Man, I've hired Jess. I think he's the man for the job. Whatever he needs to restore my house, in my policy it says you need to pay that. Insurance company is going to look for any way to circumnavigate.
Right.
And the other thing they do that's very underhanded is they drive a wedge between me and my client. They're always trying to, your contractor's charging way too much, man. God, they're such money-hungry contractors. Can't believe that. And so when you're talking about client care, the client has been with that insurance company for 30 years. They've known me for 30 days.
Right.
Well, a lot of times we're able to win the client's trust because we inform them before any of it happens what's going to happen. And then we look like an Old Testament prophet because every single thing we said would happen happens exactly like we said it would happen.
So when the people that are your colleagues that are, hey, what is your opinion on XYZ? Is it just because you have experience in those realms and they haven't quite come across that yet?
There's nobody who you can go to. You could go find somebody to coach you through this, pay them money. Maybe someday people will pay me money to say, hey, process this claim this way. I have experience. But it's very, very, if not completely rare, that you have someone who has the claims experience from the carrier side who has also been a contractor who can marry those two things. Now, I've never been an adjuster for an insurance company. I held my independent adjusting license for quite a while. I don't hold that anymore. It's just not worth the time for the continuing education. But I can do appraisals on claims, so I'm very versed in all of that. Knowing what the insurance company's end goal is and knowing what needs to happen from a contractor, soup to nuts, actual nuts and bolts side of it, there's extreme value in that because the contractor knows what has to happen to make this house or building look exactly like it did before that tornado or hailstorm hit it. The adjuster who shows up to write that claim has no clue, man. They might have gone to adjusting school for 30, 60, 90 days. If they work for Travelers, they might have gone out to Greenwich, Connecticut for, I think it's a 4-month training onboarding deal at Travelers. But they've never built anything. They don't know the difference between a slab and a pier and beam home. They just show up and start entering codes into software systems that spit out estimates.
And their thing is XYZ company is the one that pays me, and I'm representing XYZ company, so I need to make sure I don't give away XYZ's money too much of it away.
When a homeowner or business owner calls in a claim, so you get hail damage here on your studio facility. You call me, Jess, will you come look at this with me? I tell you, man, this is hammered.
I got to knock on wood on that one. My last two offices, the roof and just water washed out.
Have that.
Computers and stuff.
Damn. You call in that claim. If you call in the claim just as the policyholder, insurance company, remember insurance companies are run by actuaries.
Yeah.
They figure up all the ratios, all the numbers, everything like that. They put your policy number in, up pops your home value, boom, boom, boom. You got a hail, okay, roof, okay, gutters, okay, garage door, enter. And out pops what is called a reserve. The reserve is what your claim should cost and should not go over. The adjuster gets the reserve before he even goes to the property. And how is the reserve generated? From a phone call, not a Zoom or a FaceTime of here's my damage, look at my pool expansion joints, my gate got blown off. No. So before the adjuster even goes and puts eyes on anything, he's got a reserve. If you're telling me that's good business, I'm telling you you're smoking a crack pipe. That's
Right.
not good business.
And they're also probably talking to the homeowner versus an expert in like construction or roofing or whatever.
And this is the reason why it's becoming increasingly important for homeowners and business owners to understand the value of using a public adjuster, because the public adjuster fills the role of an attorney if you got in a car accident. If you got in a car accident, you would not call the other insurance company and negotiate your payout for your car repair and your body repair, would you? No, you'd have an attorney do that. A lot of times the attorney works on a contingency. When you have a property claim, a public adjuster can read your entire policy and they can tell you, okay, you're covered for this, this, this. You're not covered for this, this, or this. When the public adjuster meets the field adjuster from the carrier from the get-go, especially on large losses like tornado claims and fire claims, the client is in much, much better hands and on much more solid ground. Roofing claims a little different. You don't always need a PA, but that reserve is like an anchor on the claim. To go past the reserve is very difficult. And so to go past the reserve, if it's warranted, you have to oftentimes go to what's called appraisal, because the adjusters in appraisal are just removed from the equation. And then an appraiser who represents the client, the policyholder, and an appraiser who represents the carrier, they meet and decide what's fair.
So typically, how much? I'm assuming the reserve is probably 99 times out of 100 lower than the actual cost.
Absolutely, because it's only based on the value.
Right.
It's based off the deductible, which is based on the value of the home.
So what? And again, I'm just hypothetical mass number, whatever. Like, what is the typical percentage that it's lower? Is it usually 20% lower?
50.
Is it 50%?
So if the reserve on your claim is 20, your claim is probably worth, well, no,
10.
100. In my opinion, it's about 100. So if it was at 50, then your claim would be worth 30 if the reserve was at 20. If it's at 100, then your claim would be worth 40. 100 might be a little high. There's some good carriers out there. I'm not saying that there's not. I've had insurance agents on my podcast, good ones, honest ones who give a damn. I mean, guys who I trust so much, I have them covering my properties. But yes, if the reserve's 20, your claim probably is worth 40. A lot of homeowners don't understand that, and then they don't want to get bogged down, right? Let's just get the roof replaced. I don't really care. I don't have room in my life for another
So
fight.
the reserve is they're trying to pay 50% of what they should be paying.
That is correct. And the problem is that $20,000 reserve mark is the only number that all these adjusters have authorization to go to. And then they might have a little catch-all reserve of another $5K. Oh, that's past my authorization. I got to talk to my supervisor.
It sounds like the game that they like to play is, hey, Mr. Homeowner, that I know you're in desperate need now, but we're going to drag our feet a bit. Is that what do they drag their feet? So hey, we could pay you this today, but if you're wanting that big money, we need to go through this process.
It's unconscionable.
Is that what happens?
Yes.
Because I know before, and I'm not a roofer, but I know it used to be commonplace for roofers to be like, we'll replace the roof today, and then we'll deal with insurance down the line.
Yes.
And then the insurance and the legislators said, you know what, you're not allowed to do that anymore. They need to pay a deductible before any of that happens. So walk me through that process and where it is now, and what do you think where should it be ethically?
So you now owe your deductible. Regardless, you owe your deductible. You can't have a contractor waive your deductible. You can't get out of your deductible. You owe your deductible. That used to be a big thing, especially in Texas. They changed the law in September of 2019. When the carrier comes out at the beginning, if you don't have your contractor there, they tally up everything that they see. They're all in a rush. They're overworked and underpaid. These are all the excuses of the adjusters. Hey, I got your claim here, 18 grand, roof, gutters, garage door, gonna restain your fence. Okay, here you go. Of your 18, you have a $3,000 deductible. That brings us to 15. Then I'm gonna depreciate your claim because of the age. So I'm gonna give you a check for 8,000. I'm gonna hold this 7,000 back as depreciated value, depreciation, which is like collateral for the carrier to make sure you put your roof on. Because if they gave you the whole thing, you might just go buy a boat with it. Okay, whatever, fine. Roofer could come out, collect your deductible, collect the first check, put your roof on, supplement the claim as long as they're doing everything on the scope, and send in an audit estimate or a supplement report of everything that they don't agree with. Like, hey, man, you missed the bird bath in the, in the backyard. It's chipped by hail or whatever. So that can happen. That's fine. As long as you've paid your deductible as a homeowner, you're good to go. All you should ever have to pay to restore your home from a catastrophe or a loss or an act of God is your deductible. Once you've fulfilled your deductible, your insurance should pay for everything else. Well, that's where the rub is. Because the insurance company's like, well, no, my software system says that that siding up there is worth $4,000. You're like, no, man, I need a snorkel lift or a boom lift, or I need scaffolds and tarps and all of that. That siding is going to cost me $9,500, not $4,000. What are you talking about? Well, no, my software system.
Right.
And you're like, bro.
The software from 1988.
Yeah, bro, your software is great. It doesn't swing a hammer. It doesn't deal with traffic. It doesn't have to put gas in its car. So that's the rub. There are good insurance companies. I'm not the guy to say all insurance is the devil or anything like that. I will say it has gotten markedly worse this year. More than any year, they're hiding behind COVID, using COVID, and the 3 Ds in insurance claims are delay, deny, defend. We're going to delay everything. We're going to deny as much as possible. Then we're going to defend our position. Okay, so it's just a money-making scheme. They make money on the premium side, and then they make more money on the claim side, because they wait contractors out. Some guys go out of business, never get the depreciation back, never get a supplement back. Homeowners just like, I just got to get my roof fixed. I'm tired of it. I got brain freeze. And so, in my opinion, it's extremely unethical, because what you see on a Super Bowl commercial is not what happens when they show up.
So,
hey, we support the troops first. We're going to do this and that. Then they show up, hit you with a deductible that they changed without your authorization. Don't deny all these other things, and then tell you, have a good day. Thank you for your service, sir. Appreciate you. Adios. And it's just trash.
So how do you combat deny, delay, defend?
You combat it with patience and with experience and with professionalism. So we never get up there and scream and holler at an adjuster. Adjusters only have so much authority. Mm-hmm. And if that reserve's already been set, they didn't even have anything to do with that reserve. Other thing you can do is, before the claim is called in, if you are the contractor and you believe this is the damage, get a notarized and signed proof of loss with your estimate and your photos, file the claim, the client will sign it, send the claim. Hey, man, I got a problem. I already got my estimate. Here you go. A lot of times they'll send the adjuster out. You have a better chance of doing that. That's very time consuming. But then the other thing that I've shot many videos about and I coach friends of mine about is appraisal. So the adjusters are the ones who are gumming up the process. They're slowing everything down. That's their job. And I'm sorry if you're an adjuster and you're watching this and you think I'm picking on you, and there's nothing you can do. Sorry, adjusters, friends. I have friends, rugby friends who are adjusters. There's nothing you can do. It's your job. You're going to get fired if you overstep your bounds. You only have so much autonomy. Appraisal takes the adjusters just out of the equation. So everything that's been stopping the flow, there's the adjuster in the middle, flow. Pull that out, solve the problem. Now, appraisal takes a little bit of time, but it's very effective. It's cost effective. And the best part about it, it's fair. It's not the contractor and the homeowner sticking it to the insurance carrier. It's not the carrier sticking it to the contractor and the homeowner. It's what's fair. Most appraisers work for both sides. They have clients that are carriers. They have clients that are policyholders. So these guys cross paths all the time. So they meet on a claim. I just saw you on a farmer's claim 2 weeks ago. Man, it's a traveler's claim here. They are more apt to figure out a fair resolution. Isn't that what we should be shooting for here for our clients, for our policyholders, our homeowners? Something fair so we can fix your home, fix your building, and move on. I love appraisal. I think it's the wave of the future. The problem is lots of insurance carriers are going to start putting big-time roadblocks up to appraisal in their policies. And I think the lesson of the story is if you don't know what you don't know about your insurance policy, you shouldn't reach out to an agent. An agent is a salesman. Mm-hmm. You should reach out to the people who deal with the insurance company on the back end where the rubber meets the road, where a check is written or not written, where a claim is approved or denied. We had a claim yesterday, Allstate. They didn't even send out a licensed Texas adjuster. They sent out a roofer who makes money on the side doing inspections. Do you think that roofer who gets $50, $75, $125 per inspection, whatever it is going to jeopardize his relationship with that cash cow by coming out and saying this roof is total? Absolutely not.
Right.
Is that fair to the homeowner? No, it's not. It doesn't even approach fair. It's not even in the same state as fair, let alone the same county as fair. It's so outside the realm of where you're in good hands with Allstate, my balls. No, you're not. And it's trash. And it's really sad because what they put on a Super Bowl commercial is the opposite of reality.
What did you just say?
Yeah, I did.
That's got to be a meme, a GIF or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're in good hands with Allstate. Balls.
My balls.
My balls.
Yeah. It's really sad because
that's like as good as the DIY guy thing.
Shift on the fly, DIY kind of guy. We have a gal. She lives right up here in Preston Hollow. She's like 98. She didn't answer her phone for a couple weeks. We went by. We thought maybe she wasn't with us anymore. Her roof is smashed. Went to appraisal. The appraisers say, "Yep, this roof needs to be replaced." State Farm. What's State Farm's? What's their moniker? They have a little. Chris Paul,
State Farm. They do the
Aaron Rodgers,
the belt thing.
Chris Paul, Aaron Rodgers, and Pat Mahomes. Well, so this gal, Emily Jefferson, bless your heart, Miss Jefferson, you're awesome, and we got your back because our team is on your side and quality is our signature. There is an appraisal award that's been awarded and signed off on. State Farm writes her a letter, "No, ma'am, we will not honor this. We do not believe appraisers have the right to determine the cause of damage." Bullshit. They lost a case in court in San Antonio in 2009 on the same exact deal, and they're just denying her $30,000 to fix her home, and she's 98 years old. Is that fair? No, it's not. Here's the moral of the story. Big business doesn't care about you and me. Politicians don't care about you and me. What does that mean? You and me got to stick together, bro, because no one cares about us. No one at the elite level gives a damn about the plebes and the pawns.
So I'm glad we did this today, because this is where your content needs to be. For TikTok, for YouTube, for all of it. Screw the conspiracy theories, screw the political whatever climate. Real estate is relevant, roofing's relevant, all that's relevant, but And the podcasts are still good because that's something that you enjoy doing. But this right here, the last 15 minutes, that's what you're passionate about. And if that's what people are coming to you for education or insight or mentorship, and that's also what you're passionate about, that's gold, man. That's what we need to lean into. So,
I agree.
So the TikToks need to be about that, the Reels, the Instagrams, the motivational posting, the quotes, the YouTube videos. That's the audience we need to lean into. Should we have come up with this 6 months ago? Yeah.
How would we have known, though? Because the anecdotals of people reaching out asking me, hey, can you give me tips about flipping houses? And then people going, hey, can I get an hour from you to walk me through how to were a result of everything that we started.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm not saying I'm not. There's no regrets there, or no regrets. Regrets. No, but I think this is what you lean into.
I agree.
I honestly think this is the thing that, the Jess Marshall could be, is if that's what you already are, why fight it? Just lean into it and let's do that.
Yeah, I think if we're doing lots of reels and stuff, Amanda and I shot like 7 or 8 today. We should just keep cranking away on those and repurposing them and making them. I think if we can continue to bring as much value, the landlord one, in my opinion, is really important because a lot of people are really frustrated with their landlord and they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
and I think that's something I can help people
with. The rant, like the I don't know what was it 15 seconds or a minute long on TikTok? Just the rants could be a thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe getting on there and roasting a carrier for screwing over a 98-year-old woman is a good thing.
Is she single?
Emily? Probably.
But Preston Hollow, she got money, right?
So it's North Preston Hollow. It's not one of the larger homes.
Okay, well, never mind then.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, happy honey, I've got her address and cell number.
Hard pass. Betty White's still my number one gal.
I don't know who.
What?
I don't know if she was once a cheerleader, so I think that may preclude her from your selection base.
Oh, Lord.
So who's your number one gal?
Betty White.
To that? Betty White. Betty White's a badass.
They just need to take her blood, and that's what they make all vaccines for everything.
Yeah, it would turn a lot of really soft people into better humans because our country is full of some of the softest people.
And it would also take
a
lot of hard people in terms of better humans because she's so nice.
That's a good point. She is nice, but she takes no shit from anyone.
Well,
and that's a balance.
I haven't read her biography, so
she's awesome.
I know you've seen every episode of Golden Girls.
Not every, but several on reruns for sure.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. This has been fun.
100%.
But,
man.
These types of conversations, that's what I was saying before we started, is like, this is what we need to have a podcast about. And I know we went all around everywhere, but that's what these are about. But even if all of this was just to get to that, hey, let's focus in on the claims adjusting, I think that was the smart play. So
I totally agree.
So Jess Marshall at Jess from the Northwest. Email him live at autographconstruction.com.
Yes, sir.
You can find me at Ryan S. Harper, and then that's
media and branding expert.
That's what they tell me.
That's your new name on there. It's awesome. I love it.
That's what happens when you hire somebody else to do it for you.
I know. Yeah.
They're like, because I'd be like, mine was always like, I do stuff. I'm a guy. I'm an idiot on the internet.
I do stuff is your favorite tagline.
Yeah.
But I mean, custodian. I think we all aspire to be that guy.
Well, I mean, you like it was what you said. You empower the people that you hire. Let them do what they're doing.
I've always thought about just having a card that just says contractor, because you got no idea what that means, but you might have an idea what that means. Like your buddy,
my best friend ever, from like kindergarten on. In the early 2000s, he used to work for a company. And he wasn't allowed. I don't know if I've told them this story, but he wasn't allowed to tell people what his job was. So his business card literally said, "Not a janitor."
Love it.
And he's a computer guy. So he would be at the Pentagon having meetings with like way up generals, and he'd have his backward hat on at the Pentagon, and here's a card that says not a janitor. And it's just like, who is this?
That's next
who is
level.
This idiot kid?
That's next level. It's to be that cool. Well, thanks for having me
yeah,
on,
man.
I
Thanks for being here.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good times.
We got to do one of these like.
Boom. Look in the camera.
Yeah. It's that camera now. All right.